welcome everybody to the Arnie Ball Show. I'm your host, Tim Heffern, along with Coach Ball, and on the show today we will recap the last weekend's results, along with special guest Justin Luna, and check into this team status as well as our upcoming weekend matches. Stick around.
Just do it. It's a cool play. Call now. Go to work, go to school, go ahead.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Arnie Ball Show. Coach, a rough weekend, and also a rough one 2 nights ago with Ohio State. You're there on the verge of pulling these things out, and the ball is not falling on the right side of the court.
Verge? That's a pretty explicit word for you to be using on a day when we're taping this show after I've been traveling all night back from Ohio. Verge, I don't know that we're on the verge of anything other than kind of stinking up the gym at times. And we've been rationalizing all year in regards to our injuries early in the year. I would tell you that we went down to Ball State last weekend, which in the schedule is an awful timing. I got to talk to Butch again. I mean, he's just got to change our scheduling. I'm going to continue to blame him until he gets it straightened out. After playing Santa Barbara and Penn State here at home, two teams that we really look forward to playing, then having to drive to Muncie the next weekend and playing Rutgers and George Mason. And Mason's a team we'd already played 3 times, and Rutgers a team that the match really means nothing other than we're going to play it down in Muncie. And then finding out on top of that all week Craig Collins is sick in bed with some virus that some third world country has shipped over here, and he decided to catch it. Never got out of bed, never played last weekend. Did play against Ohio State, but certainly wasn't the Craig of, as we would know him, physically. But yet we're in all the matches except George Mason. We never were in the George Mason match. We were early in games 1 and 2, but after they got excited, why we never were in either one of those matches. And of course, I unloaded the bench. We'll talk about that, I assume, a little bit later. It just seems like it's a roller coaster thing that we can look at as circumstances that seem to come up that change any kind of momentum that we have barely begun to develop. You know, we talked about the Santa Barbara match last week, and we thought that was a pretty good match to get us kind of started going, and even the Penn State match was a good match. I mean, we were in that match as well, and then the thing happened with Craig, and so we're back looking at a different lineup because we got to have somebody to play his spot. Ohio State, we went back to our lineup that we played Northridge, a real great match with, just because we weren't getting the offense on the left side that we thought we needed. But if you look at the statistical analysis of the last 3 matches, our hitting percentage is 13%. even the Major League Baseball players who hit 13% don't hang around very long. Even with the things that are happening in Major League Baseball. Our offense is just very pathetic. And it hasn't been because our passing's been awful. Our passing's been okay. Now, it's not as good as we'd like it, but it's been okay. The biggest problem with our passing in that regard, and this doesn't have anything to do with our hitting percentages, but it's been the fact that we've given up a number of points in runs on other teams, opposing teams' jump servers. Potter, 2 nights ago over at Ohio State, I think scored 8 or 9 points in a row. In both games 1 and 2, I think they had 11 service aces against us, and they were all, majority of them were Potters on a jump serve. And we were able to handle it. The same thing happened against Rutgers with Bengoa, or not Bengoa, with Estrada. Very same thing, you know, and we give up those runs, and those aren't reflected in your hitting percentages. So if you give those up and your hitting percentages are still 13,
it's a quick night.
Something's not going to happen. It's amazing. We have, I was back 2 nights ago looking at the Ball State match when we played them down there, and the TV people were talking about what a great blocking team Ball State was and so on and so forth. Shoot, we outblocked them. We blocked them, just blocked them off the floor almost. I mean, we ended up losing, but we blocked. Same thing was true with Penn State. We were right there with blocking. And same thing was true with Santa Barbara, right there with blocking. Same thing was true with these 3 matches. But our hitting efficiency is so poor that we've just not been able to score points or keep other teams from scoring points in runs. And as you know, when teams score points in runs, you only have a limited number of timeouts, you only have a limited number of substitutions, and ours are even less than what yours are. And I'm just grabbing at things to slow the game down. I mean, I've yelled and screamed at officials at Ball State, should have got a red card, and didn't because they thought it was one of our fans behind the bench instead of me. I found out later. That's the only reason I didn't get one, but I should have gotten one. But in the same token, we got a really bad call down there against Rutgers, and we'd have been down there 2 weeks before and got what I thought was another really bad call against Ball State in that third pivotal game. But I was just trying to do something to get our kids somewhat motivated, somewhat inspired, and we play really hard, but we can't put the exclamation mark on the sentence.
It's all there. It's just something is just out of the execution of your pressure situation, in that when you have your opportunity and you get your free ball or your down ball, and either it's a shank pass or it's a shank set or it's a shank hit, or I mean, just something's just missing right at the end of a play.
Yeah, and it's not one thing or one person necessarily, even though we've really struggled with some transition kinds of things and getting the ball in a position to make a real opportunity swing when we can score points, and that's been pretty consistent all along. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's just all Scott Lauer's fault. Maybe it's a free ball that we pass over the net, or it's a ball that he digs and somebody else steps in and sets and waffles the ball so we can't take a real good swing at it. Or we hit it up there and our hitters just hit the thing out of bounds. Or once again, 2 nights ago against Ohio State, we're in the 4th game after we'd gotten beat badly in games 1 and 2, and we just weren't ready to play in games 1 and 2, but we came back and won game 3. Had a chance to win game 4. We're ahead 13-11. We shank a ball, so they score. We get blocked 1-on-1 on the left side, which just should never happen, and then the set was fine. We just got blocked. And then we make a hitting error in the middle. I mean, so you just pass the thing around.
It's contagious.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you get to that point and somebody makes one error and somebody else looks at the guy next to him and goes, well, I don't want to be the next guy to make an error, so you take it, and we run away from it. And you know, it's like the USA team when they lost to Argentina on match point, and Staverlik and who's the other passer on the team? I can't remember his name right now. Kid from BYU. No, the other kid. Anyhow, they run opposite directions and the ball hits the floor. I mean, it's kind of that same way with our kids, and it's not because they're not trying hard. It's not because we're not playing hard. Somehow or another, and we only got 2.5 weeks left, but we need to make a good play at the right time to kind of jump us up over the hump and maybe that'll happen here against Lewis tonight. I mean, you know, the match we're going to play tonight, certainly we've beaten them up at their place, and they beat Ohio State last week. So we still are right in the middle of this thing if we can just somehow or other figure out to put that exclamation mark on the sentence.
Yeah, certainly all of the matches that you're playing up to the MIVA playoffs are basically, they don't have a thing to do with anything other than the seeding. I mean, you could lose all of your matches and then go into that tournament, win the tournament, and you're in the Final Four.
Yeah, that's correct. Doug Beal and I were talking about that a couple days ago, and we did that a number of years ago to allow us to promote volleyball. Have a season tournament, promote volleyball, big tournament, big celebration kind of thing. And he and I's discussion dealt around maybe we ought to change that format because you're right, it's really hard to keep the kids motivated when they know they got that tournament at the end of the year and all they have to do is focus on that thing. And that's part of our dilemma right now, is our kids know that we're struggling right now, so to heck with it, we'll just continue to struggle because all of a sudden we'll turn it on 2.5 weeks from now. Well, that doesn't necessarily happen.
All right, we'll be back with Justin Luna in a few seconds. Be right back.
Hello, I'm Arnie Ball.
And I'm Tim Heffer.
Watch us every Friday evening at 7 p.m. for IPFW Volleyball highlights.
We'll also describe strategies and fundamentals for all you new volleyball fans.
We may even invite a Volleyball or two to join us on the show, so tune in to us every Friday night at 7 p.m. here on Channel 6.
Check it out.
The campus has it all.
Learn it, or work it, or play it. Just do it. It's a cool place. Call now. Go to work, go to school, go ahead.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Arnie Ball Show. I'm your host, Tim Heffernan. Along with us right now is Justin Luna, our special guest on the show today. Justin is from Tennessee, actually Alabama first, then Tennessee, then Minnesota.
Yep.
Just a worldwide traveler here. Tell us a little bit about how all these pieces of the puzzle fit together for us here.
Yeah, well, I was born in Alabama, but I was born on an Air Force base. My dad was in the Air Force. I grew up in Tennessee, spent most of my life in Tennessee, where I played with my father. He played in the Air Force, so I grew up around him playing. And then my junior year of high school, I got hooked up with a club team from Minnesota. And I played with them, but I was still going to school in Tennessee and living in Tennessee. Then my senior year, I decided to move up there so I could play with them full time. Mm-hmm. That's how it all fits in. Went up to Minnesota.
So you got through to the Minnesota connection of Jose Jones coached up there,
yep,
as well as Brad Perditis.
Yeah.
So you eventually come down here. Now, when you made your trip down here to Indiana, did you play on the team right off the bat then, or how did this work now?
No, after my senior year in Minnesota, I went home to Tennessee for a while. Then I decided I didn't really get any offers to play anywhere in school. I knew I wanted to play somewhere. So I decided I wanted to play at IPFW here because I knew Brad Perditis and a couple other guys on the team. And I moved up here and just started working and kind of got affiliated with the school. I wasn't going to school, but I just was working, trying to get established residency.
Mm-hmm.
So
an excellent way to cut the tuition rate here, as outstate tuition is rather inflated, as I knew as a student here, and many others know.
Yep.
So you're a freshman as far as academics and eligibility, is that right?
Yes, I didn't attend college before I came here. So.
Okay, so you're a true freshman.
Yep.
And playing on the team, what position do you play?
I play outside swing hitter. passer, swing hitter.
Okay.
And sometimes come in the back row, play defensive specialist.
How tall are you?
6'1" is what they got me listed as, but that might be stretching a little bit. Yeah.
Exaggeration, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what is your major here? What are you studying?
I'm studying, I declared computer science, and I've taken several classes in computer science, introductory classes, and it seems to be going pretty good. I like it. I think I'll probably stick with that, or either that or business, go into business. So.
Okay, so far in your short career here so far, what are your personal memorable situations and events so far?
I've had quite a few. It's been a really good time here. The trip to Puerto Rico was really exciting, and also the spring break trip to California. But I guess the match I played against Santa Barbara here, the spring fling tournament that Saturday night, was probably my best match so far, and it's just really exciting to have something like that happen. So.
All right. So what exactly, in more detail, what picks you up more in certain matches than other matches? What part of your game do you notice is on?
When I get a good block, when I block somebody, that's I feel good about that. That's when I know I'm playing pretty good. So
you got a few blocks in that Santa Barbara match, and that happened, 2 weekends ago, I believe.
Yes, I believe it.
About 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that was, it really seemed to pick the team up, I noticed, when you were digging and blocking and that kind of thing. All right. Tell us anything else about what's going on with you in volleyball.
Well, I get along with all the guys great. The team's coming along slowly but surely. All the new guys are kind of struggling now, but that's the way it goes, I guess. And
how do you feel the season's going so far for the team?
It's gone pretty rough for us. We've had quite a few hard losses, really hard to take, but we've also had some nice wins, I thought, where we played pretty good, and we play good at times, but sometimes, I don't know, just seems like we're not there. But I think it's coming along pretty good. It should be all right.
I think you're learning something in those pressure-packed situations when it's 13-13 and...
Yeah, I've definitely learned a few lessons. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have anything else to say, we're about ready to get back to Arnie as Arnie will talk extensively, I'm sure, about this coming weekend. So stick around, as we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to the Arnie Ball Show. Host Tim Heffern along with Coach Ball again after seeing Justin Luna. Justin has made a tremendous impact on the team psyche, I think, this year, just from my observations and watching him in practice as well as games. I think he's done a great job for the team.
Well, you would say that. And the reason you would say that is that I believe that Justin Luna in another year will be a mold of Tim Heffron. Tim and Andy Heffron.
Poor kid.
Yeah, well, I don't want to put that label on the poor guy, but and he may not have as much social activity as what you and Andy had when you guys were here.
That could be true.
Because I've discussed that with him already. I mean, we don't want you to be the role model for him there. But if you really relate your experiences, you and Andy both, maybe even Andy more than you, but with what we may be experimenting with for the weekend's over, maybe you too. He has the same kind of a background. He has the same kind of personality. You know, he's very energetic. He's very fiery. He's very quick. He touches a lot of balls. He He's a real student of the game. He works real hard at it. He raises, every time he comes to the game, he raises the level of our play. Against Ohio State, he saw very limited action. You know, some nights he's been a starter and some nights he's not. He had more digs than half of our team. And he only played back row for 3 rotations.
3 rotations.
So, you know, when those kind of things happen, it raises the level of team's play, and as you know, I mean, I can really relate him to you and Andy, because Andy had that same kind of intensity, that same kind of personality. It was, damn it, coach, I want to play, and Justin's the same way, but he hasn't been quite that vocal yet. But once he's here long enough, and he understands he can have that kind of relationship with me, well, that's going to happen.
He'll be a positive, contagious force on the team.
He really is, and no matter what he no matter what he does, you know, and certainly you need those kind of people, and he's really a neat kid to have around. Plus, he's a real good student, and you've already talked about the things that he's done just to be here.
That's great. Let's go over the match. It's going to start shortly, actually, at 7:30 here against Lewis. Like you say, they've beaten Ohio State, and you've beaten them, and they've also beaten Ball State twice. So it's going to be, I would think, they're going to look for some revenge here in our court, but at the same time, I don't think they'll be in trouble if they take us lightly.
Well, I think they'll take us lightly, you know, and they have 3 losses now in the league. We have 3 losses in the league, and Ohio State and Ball State both have 2. So this match is going to be real important to both of us as far as the seeding in the league tournament is concerned for a couple weeks down at Ball State. I think it's real important for us, first of all, to get off this losing streak that we're on and get back in a positive mode. And we know that they've beaten Ball State twice and Ohio State, and they went out and beat San Diego State, I believe. You know, some teams that we've lost to. So it's real important for us to, once again, get back in that positive mode. Other thing it's important for us is it'd be nice if we won at home here. We haven't won at home since early in the season. This has probably been the most disappointing year we've had in a long time in regards to our fans and having a chance to see us win and win against a quality team. And so, and obviously, Lewis is a real quality team. You know, Sean Sultan's a real quality player. Doug McBride, their setter, is very good. And they have some other kids that could really complement them. And they're a real fiery team, a real energetic team. And I'm sure they're coming down here with something to prove, because they lost to us up at their place, and that was a difficult pill for them to swallow. So I think it'll be an exciting match, and our concern a little bit is the fact that we had the Ball State tournament last weekend, and then we went to Ohio State on Wednesday, and we've only had 1 day to get ready for Lewis, and so hopefully our kids can physically and mentally rebound from that, but at least we're at home, so we don't have to travel.
That's great. And then, of course, the next day you will be traveling. And that match is in Quincy, and Quincy may be one of their farthest, well, not the farthest, but it's got to be up there as one of the long-distance trips for you for the year.
Well, Butch, please don't do this to me again. Yeah, it is. It's about 7 hours, I think, over there, and we're going to have to leave at 6 o'clock in the morning because we're playing a double dipper on Saturday. We play at 3 and again at 7, I think, their time. And we agreed to do that just because it saved us one of the dates that we're only allowed 28 of within the NCAA rules. And so we got to go over there and do that, and we'll make that trip. And fortunately, then we don't have anything until the following Saturday. That's our last match, so it'll be our senior recognition night, as a matter of fact. And so we'll look forward to all the fans coming and recognizing our 3 seniors. So we'll have a little time to catch up just physically. We'll come back on Sunday and then give them Monday off and go light on Tuesday and then pick it up Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to get ready for Saturday.
Great. Let's take a quick brief look at the standings now in the MIVA race. We've got tied for first is Ball State and Ohio State, and tied for third then is IPFW and Lewis, really, at this point. And they'll take 6 teams.
I found out they're going to take all 7.
Oh, they're going to take all 7.
I just found that out this weekend, as a matter of fact, this past weekend. They're going to take all 7, so only the first place team gets a bye. 7 and 8, or 6 and 7 will play, and then number 2, I think, plays that team, and then they go from there. So they're going to let all the teams in the tournament.
Oh, that's nice. All right, so where do we stand in the national scene? How does the conference rank in the national?
Well, you know, the national picture is really jumbled other than UCLA, and of course their loss to Ball State really taints that whole picture. But Hawaii had been number 2, and they ended up losing last weekend a couple matches. So the thing is really jumbled, and Stanford right now is up at number 2 and playing pretty well, and Hawaii has a really nice team. Long Beach has kind of rebounded back. Santa Barbara's up in the top 5. Ball State's, I think, number 6 or 7. Penn State's 4. So the teams from out here are very representative in the top 15. George Mason's up there. Rutgers is up there. Lewis has knocked off some of those teams. So as far as this part of the country, we're very well represented, and the parity seems out west seems to be rampant, maybe with the exception of UCLA, but obviously they're vulnerable, or they wouldn't have lost to Ball State out in Springfield earlier in the year. I think it's going to be a real dogfight out there, and I think it'll be the same thing here, and it appears to be this matching up that way out east. Everybody's really made Penn State a shoe-in, but, you know, Rutgers and George Mason are playing real well.
Yeah, they are.
I think it'll be a real war out east, west, and Midwest. So it'll be a great finish to here at the end of the season.
Yeah, great. Well, it's always nice to have a little decision-making time when you try to make that poll out.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's really good for volleyball.
Great. We will be back shortly with the match tonight against Lewis, and remember, come around again next Friday night as we'll recap Lewis and Quincy and get ready for Ball State. For now, I'm Tim Efford for Coach Ball. See you later.
Richard Gephardt of Missouri will be talking to us. Here's first Representative Gephardt.
Long Branch Elementary School in